Well, hello everyone. This is episode number 6, Fix and Flip guy with you guys on Flipping Wednesday. Just again, one of our projects, just trying to help you guys out with some of the stuff that, some of the questions that I receive every week from friends around the country. So, it's a beautiful day today in Chicago here, and we're in the neighborhood of Oak Park, and just trying to finish up this home. So we're just gonna go inside and just start this, okay? Just bear with me one sec. So, all right, this is the home right now that we're finishing up. It's a 3-story home. Originally, we purchased it as a single, still a single family, but we purchased this single family with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. Right now, we converted it into a 3-story house with 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms, 4 bathrooms. So 5 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. This was quite a bit of a challenge to do because obviously we had to, in Chicago at least, it's very popular, all the open concept of the first floor. As you see in this house, we don't have any columns inside the house. And that was completely made thanks to the architecture and the ingenuity of the framers, right? So the framers did a great job on getting these property well supported in the basement. So that way we were able to create this open concept floor without any columns in between. So it's pretty cool, huh? So, all right, so, we're just gonna, while we wait for some of the guys to come in, I just wanted to go over some of the things that I have for you today. Sorry, I have a message. I had 2 questions that I picked out from some of our friends that were sending questions to me, and the first one was using a GC. Using a GC versus doing it on my own, just GCing the project myself. That would be the first question. And then the second question, I have some notes here, would be which are the biggest issues that I found with distressed properties. Sorry, I'm just keeping my glasses only because I'm in front of the window. It's kind of shiny. But let me see if I can do that. That's fine. But anyway, so those are those are the 2 questions that we're going to go over today again. So is whether I should do it myself, GC the project myself, or should I use a contractor, GC contractor for it? And which are the biggest issues that I see on distressed properties, bank-owned properties, foreclosure properties, auction properties, any of the properties that we buy and flip, just to see which ones are the biggest issues that we see in some of those properties. So in the meantime, I have 3 little things that I wanted to go over, which is we have tonight, if you're in the Chicago area, we have a new meetup with some friends where we're going to be talking about wholesaling. So it's a meetup that we've been growing for quite a while. So if you'd like to join us tonight, it's around 6:30 p.m. At the Chri Lounge Bar in River Grove. If you like more information, just send me a message, and I'll give you the exact address and everything so you can stop by. It will be today at 6:30 p.m. Obviously only for the guys that are in the Chicagoland area. The second thing that I wanted to talk to you about is a fix and flip tour that we have this weekend. Every month I try to do a fix and flip tour for the community of investors here in Chicago. What we talked about all the time is we talk about how we find the deals, how we analyze all the property and the scope of work and the project that we need to do on that particular property, and how do we fund it, how do we get the money to buy the property, to rehab it, and finally also how do we deal with contractors and all the issues that goes with rehabbing a property. Okay, so as you know, I mean, some of you might be new on this. Some of you are going to be have more experience, but these are a lot of stuff that. Sorry, I have someone that is delivering some things in here. Give me one second. Hold on. Let's go see. This is what it's all about. But we have some deliveries today here. So let me go and check with these guys. My contractors are busy. Yeah, what's up, man? Okay.
A check is supposed to be given for this.
All right. Give me 1 second. Do you have where do you park, in the back?
Yeah.
Are you in the back? How much stuff do you have?
It's not a lot.
All right. Are you going to be able to? Where are you going to be able to leave that stuff?
Usually they take the material from the alley when they're all here.
Yeah, but all right. Give me 1 second, okay?
Okay.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. This is what it is with these contractors. That it's I'm taking care of this stuff every day. I'm not here just only looking good on these projects. We really have to take care of the issues and stuff that we have to do. So I'm gonna have to pause for a minute because I don't have anyone right here right now that can help me. We can. All right. Yeah, some of my guys, they just left for lunch, and I'm here almost by myself. So anyway, but I was talking about the tour that we're going to do this weekend. So we do these tours every month, so we can take care, just show some of our friends and some of other investors, newer investors, wholesalers, how do we get these deals and how do we get to do this stuff. So here, hold on 1 second. I have one of my friends here that is going to take care of this. Hey, hold on. There's this guy in the back for Door Depot that needs to get paid. So and he's in the alley.
How much is it?
I don't know. Not,
Yeah.
yeah.
You got 10?
No. So, all right. So. We just got in a bunch of delivery right now. We're trying to finish this house by the end of the month. So obviously we're getting a lot of stuff coming in today. So sorry about that again. So just to pick that up, we're doing this fix and flip tour this weekend. And we call it the $1 million flips, just because now, obviously, since we've been doing this for a lot of years, and now we've been able to get into bigger and bigger projects. This project in particular is about $600,000 worth of work, and between the property, buying the property, and rehabbing the home. Now, this other property that we're going to tour this weekend is going to be about $900,000, $950,000 worth of between the purchase, the rehab, and the property is going to be worth about $1.35, $1.4 million once we are done with it. So we like to share that with a lot of the newer investors so they can see how we do our numbers, how we deal with all the process of buying and rehabbing, or or adding second floors or doing additions to the back to the up, or so we try to share that information with the people that follow us all the time, and the people that are interested in getting into these type of real estate, flipping homes or rehabbing, new construction, everything that has to do with real estate. So we go in detail through all the stuff that we're going to do on that particular property. So if you like to come, it's this Saturday. We're going to meet at 10 a.m. at the Chri Lounge bar, and that bar is in River Grove at 8166 West Grand Avenue, 8166 West Grand Avenue in River Grove. And we're going to meet there on Saturday at around 10 a.m. From there, once we meet, we go see the properties. We're going to look at a couple of properties, one that is finished and one that we're about to start in the same neighborhood. And then we're going to be talking about numbers and everything. Then we're going to have lunch together. All right. And, we can ask, answer more questions in there too. And then third and finally, we're going to have another event next week on Wednesday, the 19th, around 6:30 p.m. with one of the attorneys that I use all the time, Pansica Law Office. There, we're going to do an event together where we're going to be talking about buying properties directly from the bank with huge discounts. How do we do it? How you can do it too, and how even the realtors can benefit by helping investors getting into these properties and facilitating that for them too. So that's it. So that's again Wednesday the 19th at the Pansica Law Office. And again, send me a message if you like to come, and I can send you a link for you to get registered. It's totally free. All these events that I talked about, they're totally free. You can come at any time and just learn. Okay. So moving on. So we're going to go over then the two questions that we were talking about, and that is the first one that we're going to go to is using a GC versus GCing the project myself. It depends. I think that the difference is depends on how if you're new in the business, if you're new into flipping homes, or if you have already done projects 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever number you are at right now. So I think that would make a difference on that decision. My experience in the beginning, I use GCs all the time, and then the first thing was because I didn't know the first thing about construction. In the beginning, I didn't know anything about construction, so I had to utilize their knowledge to get these deals done. So what I was good at, was finding the deals, doing my numbers, and doing all the research that I needed to do, and collecting all the and raising funds for those deals. So the good thing about it is that utilizing. Here's Katie. Hello, Katie. So she's one of my partners that I have for now probably 5 years. So the thing is that in the beginning, the way that I was doing it is I would do all my numbers. I will search for properties. I had a few friends that will help me, realtors that will help me searching for homes. But I had a lot of time at that time, and I would search for homes on my own too, and obviously put the offers with realtors' friends. So definitely in the beginning, I was able to. I knew a couple of contractors just because they were customers from previous jobs that I did before. And I started with some of them. They at that time, we're talking about 6 years ago, that when I started doing this full time, and at that time I didn't know much about construction, so I relied on them. And then at that time there was very little work for contractors too. So the guy that I was working with, he had a lot of time on his hands at that time. So he will come with me and he will, look at the properties and see what things do we needed to do on those homes, and he will, we'll go over the numbers that I estimated it, which I estimated, based on things that I will find online, information that we'll find online, and just talking with different contractors. So like I said, I will go with him, but unfortunately he was able to help me for the first 2 properties, and then after that he moved out to another state. So I had to look for someone else, and so he did the first 2 projects with me, which I learned a bunch. I will go there every day, just check on what they were doing, and then I will be there all the time when the inspectors will come for the different inspections. So I always, pull permits for even for little jobs in the beginning too, because it was important for me to make sure that they were doing the right thing. So never allow your contractors to do even for the smallest things, to do it without permits, because it's for your benefit, that and the pulling permits is going to help you actually make sure that the job is done correctly, even if it's a small thing. And you got to think about liability too. When you sell that property, and if the buyer has a problem with that or something related with the work that you did to that property, you can be held liable. So definitely make sure that you pull your permits for every little thing that you do, and you make sure that you do your inspections. Okay, so then I did that in the beginning, and I would suggest for you to do the same in the beginning. Definitely utilize their knowledge, and utilize the knowledge from the inspectors. Okay, make sure that when you do the inspections, that you are there and you can ask questions. The inspectors, they love to teach you what they know, and what is the way that it's supposed to be done, and the way that the code is. So they will sometimes, if they have time, they will stick around and just give you a class of what you need to do in that place. So definitely is take advantage of that if you can be there in all the inspections, and learn from them. So the next time in advance that is going to be required in that area, and that you need to do it. So at that point you're going to be ahead of yourself when you know that some of the things that the code requires for different things that you do on a particular house. So based on that, I will suggest you to utilize GCs in the beginning. Now, at the point that we are with our company, we can. Sorry, I have a call. We're at the point that we still use GCs for some of our projects, but some other the smallest projects we GC them ourselves, and right now we have project managers on the different projects. On the larger size projects, we utilize project managers, so we can be in the background, making sure that we go through line by line, and we go through we don't blow up through the budget, right? So we make sure that once we created a budget for a certain item that when we are going through that particular item on the construction, that we don't go over on that, or if we go over, at least we know how much we're going over on that, and obviously as long as it's within a reasonable amount, or something that we at least projected that we might have to spend a little bit more on some of those things or not. So that's very important. So for us, right now we're a little bit more in the background, making sure that those things are looked at constantly. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when you're in the field and you're working with people and the contractors, you lose sight of the finances of the deal. So you got to make sure that you keep an eye on that stuff every day, because you're spending money every day. So obviously that is something super important that you gotta be watching out for. All right. So now the second thing that we're gonna be talking about would be the second questions. It was one of my friends asked me, what are the biggest issues that I see on some of these distress properties, and as you know, some of these homes, the distress homes in the banks are. Let me move around here. So you have to buy them as is. Depending on the type of property, foreclosures, short sales. Usually, the owners is losing the property, so they're not going to be able to take care of any of the issues that the property currently have right now. So you're going to see some of this stuff in the beginning. So here's Esla. Hey, Esla, what's up, man?
Hey guys, I'm one of the partners.
Yes, so we're talking about what are the issues that we see usually on distressed properties, which one the biggest things that we find. And obviously some of the things that we always look for are mechanicals, anything that has to do with water damage, sewer lines if possible we try to look at, and then electrical, anything that has to do with mechanical, so electrical, plumbing, HVAC. And those usually are things that we always change. So, but
a lot of times, we also Christian probably already mentioned it. We also look at the structure.
Right.
Like if the foundation's really bad, we might actually walk away from the deal if it's really, really bad.
Right.
So that's one big thing that you need to consider is the structure of the property as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing that you have to, when even though it might be a great deal on the numbers, you have to be ready to walk away from the deal at any time. And some of the things that some of the reasons why you're going to walk away is going to be some like that, like foundation. If the foundation is really bad, usually like a rule of thumb, the cheaper the deal, the more work that you're going to need to do. So, and then more visible things that you might be able to see would be electric. Obviously, if the box needs to be changed, if it needs to be upgraded. Here in Chicago, we deal a lot with really old homes. So some of them, they still have the original electric wires. They're called cloth wires. So usually those, they need to be completely changed because even if you upgrade the electric box, those cables are not going to work. So and obviously once you get into that, you get into the code of new breakers and all that stuff. Some of the areas require more expensive breakers. Some areas that don't. So then other things that you can look for are plumbing leaks, which usually those in the homes are not. They're usually bank home properties. They're winterized here in Chicago. They take the water out of they take the water out of the pipes. Yeah, she already said hi. So so they usually banks here. They take the waters out of the pipes because of the hard winter that we have in Chicago, and that we gotta take so the plumbing they don't get even more damage after the fact that they're being vacant for some time. So now they're pretty good at that stuff here. They get to it right away, and they get, if we're in winter or getting to winter, they get to the house right away and they try to winterize the property. So sometimes you're not able to see if the water is coming out or not. So that is something that you gotta have. Just assume that you're gonna have leaks, and depending on how big is the project. Sometimes we do change the whole plumbing for these homes. Again, why? Because these homes are usually 80 to 100 years old, and they need that upgrade. And if we have enough room for us to do it, we'll do it. Otherwise, we'll try to update as much as possible. Then water damage would be. The roof, you're obviously going to see the roof if the roof is damaged by water, or not only the roof but some of the walls. If the property is not a brick, let's say if it's wood siding or aluminum siding, sometimes the water will leak.
And sometimes if the tuck pointing hasn't been done in a long time, the water can still seep through the brick.
That's for bricks too, right? And then. Even here is just because of the winter, the hard winter that we have, and the water sometimes it gets inside the siding or the bricks, and once it gets icy, it expands and breaks the tack pointing if it's brick, or breaks the wood or the siding or whatever the house is covered with. So that's something that is more visible. You can look, and you're going to be looking at. The more properties that you looked at, the more that you're going to be catching on those details. So I think that one of the things it will be to take the time, right, to look at the house correctly as much as you can, so you can look at as many details as possible. Try not to run through it. Make sure that you can look at every detail in the property.
And if you don't know on your own what to look out for, find someone that does, or hire an inspector to go with you. It's worth the money.
In the beginning, yes, it's definitely worth the money. When the property is not a complete gut, I believe that it's good to do an inspection. It's going to cost you $350 maybe to do a home inspection, and they will give you absolutely every detail that they can see that you're going to have to take care of anyway. And then at that point, you can go with that list, with that report, and just do your budget, based on that report. And that will help you a lot in the beginning. I think when you're new, you definitely should do something like that. And unfortunately, sometimes. After you do that inspection, sometimes we're going to come up a couple of big stuff that you're going to probably end up not buying it. But at the end of the day, I think is money worth spending, so you don't walk into a big surprise sometimes. Even more if you're new at that, right? So another big issue that I found one time, it was on some of these big homes again. Is depending on where you are, depending on the area that you live, depending how old the property is. We deal with very old properties here in Chicagoland. So one issue that I encountered one time that we never checked that before, it was the sewer lines. Okay, so sometimes once we had a property in Oak Park in can't remember the address right now, but once the buyer came in, they did their inspections, and then the sewer line was clogged by the tree stuff, the roots. So and it was broken through because of the roots. So they had to put a machine inside and kind of clean that up and unclog the sewer line, so they can have free flow through it. Otherwise, that that is an extra expense that you got to do, and sometimes you don't see that because you need to put a camera through it. Your plumber is going to have to go there and put a camera through, and you're not going to be able sometimes to do that in the beginning. Now, if you do an inspection, some of the inspector might be able to do that and might have a camera. Some of them, they have a camera, some other ones don't. So that's something that if they when you talk to the inspector, if they do have a camera, they can do it, just definitely do it. Even if they charge for a little bit more, it shouldn't be that much costly to do it. So, so there was water damage, plumbing leaks, sewer lines, electric and gas. Again, some of these properties, bank-owned properties, usually the gas lines are they're close. The electric sometimes is on, sometimes is off. So when it's on, you usually can check on that stuff. Again, it will be very on the surface that what you're going to be able to check, unless you are able to take a team with you, or your GC has some knowledge in electricity that they can check on the box and stuff like that. But usually, if they're old, you're going to need an upgrade, and it's going to have to be changed. So, and then finally, too, is in regards of carpentry inside, termites. Just look out for that. Usually, I don't know if you've seen, but sometimes the old people, when they go and they're going knock on the stuff, we laugh about it, but it's good. Actually, you got to knock on the wood everywhere you can, just to make sure that doesn't sound hollow. When you see little lines, little holes, and then little lines in some of the areas of the wood, the exposed wood, actually, that you're going to be able to see in the basement or stuff like that, or all studs. That's is definitely try to knock on it, and sometimes if you have a pencil, even try to poke on it just to make sure that it's not hollow. Sometimes the fact that property had termites before doesn't mean that they're alive. So that, but if you see something like that, definitely going to have to bring another inspector to check on that and see if they're live or not. Which usually the same inspectors, sometimes they do that, right?
They should be able to do it.
Sometimes the same inspectors, they should be able to test for that just to see if they're live or not. Obviously, just to give you a recommendation whether they're live or not, and if you need to treat it or not. And obviously, or if you don't, obviously you might have to change that piece of wood or that area, whatever you found that hollow piece of wood. So anyway, those are the two things that we were talking about. We were talking about whether we talked about using a GC versus GCing the project ourselves, and then some of the biggest things that we find on distressed properties. So obviously, those things are the properties when they're distressed properties, bank-owned properties, auction properties. They don't. We're not able to see them in detail sometimes. Even more the ones that are auction, usually you're not even able to get inside the house. So if they're foreclosure, bank owns, short sales, those type of homes, yes, we can do a lot of inspections on it. But the issue is that usually when you buy those properties, you buy it at a discount, but you're buying them as is. So they're selling it the way it is. So even though, it's mainly for your own information, all these inspections are mainly for you to find out what's the issues of the house and see if you're going to be able to fix them with all the with the budget that you created for that particular house, right? So I don't know. You guys want to say something a little bit more about that, about distressed properties and some of the things that we find out? Some of the do you remember any of the big items that we find before?
Well, like you said, plumbing, electric,
HVAC, the framing.
Does it need any steel beams in the basement, framing,
Right.
roof?
Making sure, yeah, that the support in the basement is good. I mean, sometimes these beams they were wood beams and they're very old, and they need to make sure that.
In a lot of these older buildings, proper footings were not in place. So you may have to replace the posts, put in real footings, and then replace it. So you're going to probably run into structural problems in a lot of cases like that. But like Christian was saying, I mean, the cheaper the property, it's more indicative of how much more work you're going to have to put into it.
Right. And the real fix and flips are usually the ones that you don't have to do a lot of work. Okay. And I think in the beginning, definitely is better to get into easy deals that you don't have to do a lot of work. And for that reason only, it will be newer homes, maybe
Like
20, 30 years old, or that we can, even 40 years old, that they're not going to be needing as much as 80 years old
Yeah, I
homes.
mean, those types of projects, I mean, they could be good. I mean, you just change out the paint, carpet, refurbish the bathrooms and kitchens, and you're done.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases like that.
Unfortunately, here in the Midwest,
Hard to find those,
we have new homes obviously, but it's in the west, far west suburbs, not in the areas that we work. The areas where we work, they're mainly all homes are between 70 to 100 years old. So this house actually is from 1906 or something. So it's about 100 and 110, 115 years old. So
Over 100.
over 100 years old. So but we did, we completely redid the structure of the house. So obviously, we did a big addition to it. So we had to redo all that stuff. But for the smaller projects, definitely you're not gonna have to get into any of that. Hopefully, if you see, foundation problems, or your inspector see foundation problems, you're better off not getting into any of that unless you're really experienced. All right, so that's pretty much it for those two things. And I just want to invite you again to the Fix and Flip tour that we're going to have this weekend. Again, it's going to be on Saturday at 10 a.m. We're going to meet at 3 Lounge in River Grove, 8166 West Grand Avenue, 8166 West Grand Avenue at 10 a.m. We're going to be meeting in there, and then from there we're going to take a bus and go see some of these properties. All right?
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.